what better way to start the day than with Elimination Series? That's what I want to wonder. We've got one team down, now we have 5 teams remaining, and the next order of business is Wildcard Gaming. You see them there on the screens. The European number 2 team going against the European number 3 team, Change My Mind without Fried Kitty. I'll be hosting the set. I'm Healing Stat, and of course, joining us back on the desk, we have Benruki, Super Tease, and Zico for the first time today. Zico, I want to get your take on the last series, because ABC, they really came out running in that one.
Well, that's the thing about ABC. Time and time again at these tournaments, people really underestimate them, and time again, they show up when it matters at these lands. They had a pretty weak performance, during the Cups, myself included, being very critical of them, but they showed up big time today. They had a really, really strong performance, taking out the boys. Honestly, I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, and Venruki, looking at the 2 teams on our screen right now, Change My Mind are another one of those teams where we really didn't expect too much of them, given that one of their members, Fried Kitty, who was key to them in the spring season, wasn't able to attend this event.
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, if we had looked at these 2 teams during the Spring Cups, I would say, Changed My Mind, they really don't have much of a chance based off history. They lose as Rogue Mage Druid, they lose as Shadow Priest Mage Druid. Now forced on this alternate composition with the Shadow Priest Rogue Paladin we saw from Minpoike or potentially Restoration Druid. Maybe this is the formula they need to start putting points on the board against Wildcard Gaming.
Well, 37% of you believe that Minpoike's team can do it. They are bringing in Min Paladin for the first game against one of the favorites for the tournament, Wildcard Gaming.
I was not anticipating the Balanced Druid Elemental Shaman in this particular matchup. I didn't even expect to see these 6 classes in the game in this combination. And this is actually the first time we haven't seen a Restoration Druid. So this is going to be a unique matchup. Both teams face elimination. Can Wildcard Gaming battle it back for a rematch later on? We don't expect to see such a titanic team in the lower bracket this early on, but the competition is at its highest this year.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I feel like Wildcard Gaming, if they had locked in a Windwalker Monk, that is what Changed My Mind wanted to play into. With the Holy Paladin, you want to be able to use the Blessing of Protection on the Touch of Karma to take down a Windwalker Monk quite quickly. So Wildcard Gaming, kind of realizing the situation Changed My Mind is in, they decided to bring in the Moonkin Elemental Shaman Mistweaver Monk, and this is a very durable setup against what Changed My Mind is bringing. But on that Holy Paladin, and Poike will be able to conserve his mana for quite some time. I could see Change My Mind winning this.
Valet just getting destroyed right off the bat there. Has to use the Dispersion, a powerful defensive Shadow Priest cooldown. So he won't have that for another minute and 20 seconds. And Zeepai is firing on all cylinders still, with Valet ducking for cover at the corner here with Minpoike, and Maro is pushing forward as well. Acro Cyclone behind. Maro switches targets to him as well. Minpoike gets stunned. They've got Change My Mind pinned at the pillar. And as a Wizard Cleave with that triangle positioning, that could be deadly. Minpoike sees that he's getting cornered, so he leads the charge for his team, initiating crowd control. Looney saw that crowd control incoming and used Life Cocoon right before it landed, but even still may not be enough. The Repentance play from Minpoike on this Paladin bought them victory against Neverlucky yesterday, potentially finding them victory against Wildcard Gaming today. Perfect crowd control chain, banking multiple defensive cooldowns on the side of Wildcard Gaming, and this composition is looking good for Change My Mind.
Keep in mind what just happened. Wildcard Gaming, not only did they commit the trinket from Looney, they also use the Astral Shift from Zeepai. Smoke Bomb Kidney Shot, but Zeepai, he's outside of that Smoke Bomb, and Looney should be able to heal him up. That's a little bit unfortunate there for Change My Mind, but now in this situation, all they really need is one good crowd control on the Looney. They can Kidney Shot Zeepai, they can potentially take him down.
Big heals so far from Change My Mind. Mana totally full on their side as well. Acro going down in a stun lock is really all I see as potential. Ooh. Repentance on the way of the Crane. This is great play by Minpoike. Silence on Maro. He can't support the team. They dispel off the Ghost Wolf. Zeepai's in trouble on the run. If they can keep removing that Ghost Wolf, Zeepai may just go down. A sap out of the Hammer of Justice by Acro.
Oh!
This play is absolutely insane.
I told you.
What is this team? Why would they not play in this composition throughout the entire spring season?
I told you this is what this team needed. They need something else. If they had played those other 2 setups, it would not be looking good. But this Shadow Priest, Rogue, Paladin, their crowd control chains are absolutely insane. And I don't even remember the last time they beat Wildcard Gaming.
They can't even believe it. They can't even believe that they've won this game. Wildcard Gaming. Zico, what happened?
they just played insane. Look at this CC chain they got here. I mean, Acro, he's getting cloned up at this point in time. You know, they already forced out the dispersion. It looks like Change My Mind are a little bit on the back foot here, but then they start initiating the big crowd control chain, and they go after Zeepai here. Zeepai, of course, doesn't have his Astral Shift available. They get a nice silence there on Tomorrow, who's about to shut down that entire CC chain. They get the Repentance. They follow that up with the Hammer of Justice. Acro with the offensive Cloak of Shadows as well. Vanishes off, gets the DR Sap, as well as Belay just coming in with the Fear. They still had a long time remaining in that crowd control chain as well. And I mean, look at how happy these guys are. Delay can't believe it. Even Zeepai and Wildcard Gaming, they're like, what just happened?
Yeah, I mean, Poike is like laughing. He's like, I can't. He's like, stop it, guys.
They have nothing to lose.
They have nothing to lose, everything to gain. They're without Fried Kitty, 3-man roster here. Acrolol's playing out of his mind. Villi, I noticed on the app, he's playing the crit haste, so he has more damage. And I mean, these guys, they just understand these classes perfectly, Sid.
I mean, that was perfect crowd control. And I would say that the Repentance build from a Holy Paladin is very effective into the Mistweaver matchup, and we saw it capitalized with the Repentance during Way of the Crane. As the Mistweaver, if you want to push forward and get aggressive, you compromise your positioning. Repentance as a Paladin is a good way to shut that down, and Poike just exploited that perfectly, and with good coordination and setup and an aggressive push, knowing that they could get the kill at that moment, committing what is normally a defensive cooldown Cloak of Shadows instead to avoid crowd control, going all in for that moment, and that kill was great play on the side of Change My Mind in Game 1.
It's incredible. I still can't believe what happened. I'm hoping Jillian's going to have some extra insight. What's going on, Aya?
Hey guys, before this matchup, I caught up with Morrow, and he said after yesterday's game, they were a little bit flaming. There was a little bit of tension. Stakes are really high right now for them, but they seemed like they were ready to go despite that tension. But we'll see how the rest of this match plays out for them. On the other side, I was able to catch up with Poike. I am so proud of these guys. Poike has really done a great job of keeping these guys calm, keeping them positive despite their disadvantage. So we'll see if they can continue with this success for the rest of this matchup. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
This tournament has been so weird. Like, you come in with like your juggernauts, and some of them really are stepping up, right? Like Cloud9 have been impeccable. Method Black, you know, they had that kind of shaky series yesterday against the boys, but some of these underdog teams are really surprising us. ABC, you know, we had a lot of criticism of them coming into the season. It's fair. I don't think anyone's saying that they had the perfect season. Now they start to show up, beating the boys, knocking us down to one more North American team. And here, Wildcard Gaming, I think they haven't lost a single game against Change My Mind in the season. Now Change My Mind without a member are able to show up. And I mean, Zico, you've played a lot with Acrololz. Just how good is this guy?
Well, Acrololz, he's kind of one of the up-and-comers, you want to say. I mean, right now he's obviously been kind of, you know, an established rogue in the European community, but even as close as maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago, really at the beginning of Legion, there wasn't that many people who had Acro on their radar. But the beautiful thing about this guy is he plays so much. He has, I think, 6 rogues right now on the European servers. He plays every single race combination. He's pretty much always online grinding, and he's always picking up alts as well. So it's been really fantastic to see how well he has developed as a player throughout the years. And I mean, it's great to see him come to these lands and time again perform, and he really just deserves nothing but praise.
Yeah, and I do want to table the Change My Mind discussion just for a little bit here, because we do need to turn our attention to Wildcard Gaming, because these guys, they come in as a favorite, and this isn't the first time they've come to one of these live events as, you know, a top dog, in the sense that many people expect them to come out here. And during Aya's segment, we saw Maro was suggesting, you know, there's a bit of tension. These guys, they do get quite heated when they practice Zico. It's one of those things. How do they recover at this point?
Well, I think when you're playing at this kind of level, when you have the results, especially when you're coming into a tournament like this as one of the favorites, you had such a strong season as well, you kind of let the expectations sometimes get the better of you. If you have a bad performance or a bad loss, it can be very hard to shake that off, because you know everyone, including yourselves obviously, is expecting that you're going to be performing up to that standard that you've set yourselves up for. And now, if you lose to a team, like, let's be real, I would predict a 3-0 here in favor of Wildcard Gaming.
I think you did yesterday.
I actually did, yeah.
Well, I mean, it really takes a championship attitude to stay positive when you're losing. I mean, when you're winning every game, you're winning every series, you have all the momentum, it's pretty easy to keep a grin on your face, you know, be happy, be positive. But when you start losing, that's when your attitude really comes into check. You have to make sure that you're not getting tilted. You're looking at the games and analyzing your mistakes and trying to come up with a solid game plan.
Would you think it's fair to say that Wildcard Gaming don't have that necessary championship attitude?
Well, I mean, these guys are phenomenal players. I mean, they have a lot of experience. They've come back from a deficit in the past. I think this particular composition that they locked in is a really good answer into what changed my mind is bringing. This is kind of a composition I want to see from them because Maro on that Frost Mage is really, really strong. I mean, both Wildcard Gaming, AWC, and Method Black have sort of utilized this Frost Mage Elemental Shaman quite a bit in the online cup, so it's good to see them implementing that here in this LAN tournament. And I think the one thing that Changed My Mind has going for them right now is the surprise factor of this composition. I don't think people expect all the crowd control that they have available, the additional burst damage from the Holy Paladin, as well as the mana efficiency, so they can bring the game for a really long period. And honestly, Minpoike has kind of surprised me. We've kind of criticized him in the past for maybe not playing his alt specializations at that top tier level he does on his Restoration Druid, but nothing but praise for him today on that Holy Paladin. He's really been holding it down. I think that's a big reason why they're finding success.
Well, I mean, the question we've been asking on the desk is what is the answer to the Frostmage, Destruction, Warlock, Resto Druid? But I think the sleeper question is what is the answer to Change My Mind with this Rogue, Shadow Priest, Holy Paladin composition coming in? I think Peekaboo, WizK, I was looking at Twitter yesterday, they were so proud of Acrolors. They were responding to him saying, like, you're doing us proud, you're holding our name there with this composition. Change My Mind, looking to go 2-0 against Wildcard Gaming. It's just a 3-man roster here.
Change My Mind taking tactics from the move in North America, playing their classic Shadow Priest Rogue setup with a Paladin and somehow, some way making it work despite being down a player. Their Mage Fried Kitty unable to attend. So as 3 players, they're left with no choice, no other options, but also no stress because really are they expected to win? So with that taken into account, they're playing perfectly and they're really just more relaxed than their opposing teams. And when you lose to a team where it's like there's 3-man roster, well, we shouldn't lose. That might even just be tilting. We see early on Looney committing that Gladiator's Medallion to remove Blind, usually a typical trade, and I do like that Looney has switched over from the Mistweaver. I think that Minpoike would have otherwise punished that selection quite easily. The Restoration Druid going to be able to drag the fight out for some time. We do see Minpoike actually being pressured here on the Paladin. Early damage here in game 2. Divine Shield forced out. Minpoike going to respect that space, but that was not a cooldown committed by Wildcard Gaming, and they managed to scare Minpoike into using his most potent defensive. Let's see how Wildcard Gaming capitalize on this advantage.
Well, Minpoike and Changed My Mind to sort of spiced it up a little bit. Minpoike no longer playing that Repentance, which has been so good for him. Against the Restoration Druid, it isn't nearly as effective, so he's decided to go with the Blinding Light. That's going to be extra crowd control. Minpoike can cross the map. He can get a Hammer of Justice into a Blinding Light, and who knows what's going to happen after that. Change My Mind has a big crowd control chain at their disposal. Looney with no Trinket, no Iron Bark. I could see them taking down Zeepai with just one clean setup.
All right, let's see if they can do it here. They managed to get a Gladiator's Medallion from Maro. Potential Smoke Bomb for an Ice Block. That could be a big push here from Acro. He's going to Trinket out of that Lightning Lasso and try and connect, but Maro kites him with the Frozen Orb. Good positioning, but Blessing of Freedom gets him out. The purge off the Blessing of Freedom, but even still, Frost Nova now on Acro Law. Great kiting from Maro, but ultimately they connect. Smoke Bomb play here from Acro. That's going to be an Ice Block. Good setup, clean play if I change my mind.
Yeah, very nice setup. Acro eventually met him. Maro, or they need to be very careful against the Frostmage like Maro. He's being able to spell steal that Blessing of Freedom. Although it gets Acro out of his snare, it allows Maro a lot of room to kite around. So I want to see Acro cancel that. If he gets Blessing of Freedom, he can take it off, and that way Maro isn't able to dispel it. Big burst damage over on Acro right now. Ray of Frost as well as that Lightning Lasso. Good pressure. Full kidney shot now onto Maro. Changed My Mind looking to reverse the pressure and potentially get out that second Ice Block. Mana
lead actually for Changed My Mind, and Minpoike is doing a phenomenal job on this Paladin. Not going down to the early pressure, able to survive, and now looking like he can extend the game into the late phases as well. Acro appears to be the main pressure point, especially on Ashamane's fall. That's going to be the best tactic for Wildcard Gaming. Go after the melee, who has to overextend and compromise his positioning. Wildcard Gaming trying to take the edge here as Acro gets blasted. Shadow stepping back and able to avoid death. Now initiating crowd control for the team, stunning up 2 targets. Blind follow-up, silence on the trinket. Nice play here by Valet. Do they have anything out of this is now the question. They don't. They are not going to get a second ice block as a result, but getting the Gladiator's medallion is still a major objective in the way of Change My Mind's victory.
Yeah, and Zeepai, basically what's happening is they're getting good crowd control over on the Looney, but as long as
swap.
Zeepai's there, he can get the heals out. Minpoike in a little bit of trouble right now. No Divine Shield. One Maledict connects the second. Minpoike could easily fall. Beautiful win shear by Zeepai. Wildcard Gaming punishing this Minpoike Holy Paladin, tying the series up.
Yeah, good offense coming in from Wildcard Gaming there. Zico, do you think this is something they can pull off strategically consistently?
Well, I think they just had a big advantage here with the map and the pick as well. And this was, really nicely executed from Wildcard Gaming. They got a beautiful opener, forced out the Divine Shield. They got Vilay's Trinket, and they managed to just deny all of that extra hybrid assists that Vilay can provide on that Shadow Priest with things like the Void Shift and, the grip. By just crowd controlling him up. So Mar did a great job with those polymorphs, and they managed to snag themselves a kill. But like I said, the Paladin on a large map against things like the Druid Mage, not the best pick. I think if we see this matchup again, maybe Poike would be playing his Druid. So now that Change My Mind have that advantage of seeing what they're going to be up against, I think we could see a potentially different matchup. But the CC here is really nice. Maro, he gets a sheep onto Acro, follows it up with a Frost Nova as well, swaps over the sheep to Vilay, who has no trinket, but he does have that Void Shift available. And Poike, of course, having used his Divine Shield already, he's going to go down with a nice wind shear from Zeepai to secure that one.
Yeah, I mean, the offense in that game didn't seem too bad from Change My Mind too, though. They still had opportunities.
Yeah, I was actually looking at, I thought at this point in time it looked pretty good for them because they forced out Looney's Trinket by blinding him up, and they could potentially go for a big all-in with the Cloak of Shadows and try to take Looney down, in a kidney shot with a DR Hodge, maybe use the wings, have that Paladin assist with that damage. Unfortunately, they got taken down before that swap could actually happen, but there was still some opportunity there for Change My Mind. It wasn't completely hopeless.
Yeah, in this Mage Elemental composition, I do want to talk about it a little bit because we've seen ABC be very successful with this composition now in a couple of different matchups. Wildcard Gaming bring it out. I think this is the first time we've seen them running the Mage Elemental as opposed to the Elemental Moonkin, if I'm correct, in this tournament.
In this tournament, yeah.
In this tournament. So my question is, do you think the teams from Europe, I'll ask this to you then, should have more confidence in this composition? Because it is a very European born and bred comp, whereas a lot of them seem to be losing faith in it versus the Mage Log Druid.
Honestly, coming into this tournament, I thought that was the main strength of some of the European rosters, the fact that they do have this Elemental Shaman Frost Mage. It's a very durable composition. It has a lot of opportunity to swap, like we saw in that last game. You get a bash into a Lightning Lasso with all the Frost Mage, instant damage, Comet Storm, Ice Nova, Frozen Orb. It's a lot of burst damage, and it is very difficult to take down. So I think a lot of these teams are starting to get a little bit of faith restored, and I think them sort of implementing that composition could be their advantage.
The tournament meta only gets spicier. We've got so much more ahead of us. We're going to find out who can come out on top of Wildcard Gaming versus Change My Mind after this. Ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't wait any longer to find out who's going to come out on top between Change My Mind and Wildcard Gaming. We're heading straight into game. And guess what? Wildcard Gaming has another composition for us.
Wildcard Gaming, they're going to be bringing in Blizzo on the Windwalker Monk. Now, you'd expect the Windwalker Monk to be a little bit scared in this matchup, but I think with the backup of Zeepai and Looney on that Mistweaver Monk, I think they can actually survive past a lot of these crowd control changes, as long as Blizzo is very careful in this matchup.
I'm not sure if I'm sold on the Mistweaver pick. I mean, Looney's a phenomenal Mistweaver, but I think the Repentance is still such an effective crowd control that could counteract him. We do see Zeepai and crowd control, all three members locked down. Curious play by Change My Mind to mix it up. They might catch Wildcard Gaming off guard here on Runes of Lordaeron. Zeepai on the run. If they can continue the chain, they do. They get the Gladiator's Medallion on a silence of Looney? Or was that a dwarf ratio? We'll find out if he was able to remove that, because now blind could be deadly. They got the Gladiator's Medallion of Zeepai. That's an opening for Smoke Bomb now as well. Change My Mind have momentum, but finally Wildcard Gaming start punching back. Valet gets blasted, but immediately healed back to full by Minpoike. Acro is going to be the playmaker here. He's got the smoke bomb available. He sets up the blind right before that Glidier's Medallion is available. The timing is perfect. Blizzo protects with that Ring of Peace. Thunderstorm as well. Looney is still crowd controlled. Now using Glidier's Medallion to break out of the chain. I want to see if basically Minpoike's crowd control can win the game in the next attempt. If he's able to get in position, land a Repentance without Z-Pie or Blizzo denying it. Let's see if Minpoike can put the team on his back here. Despite being a man down in the tournament, Minpoike leads the charge here moving forward. Looney ducks for cover, avoiding the Repentance. Minpoike is chasing him, looking for it. Looney line of sights at the tombstone on the top of the hill. Good positioning from Looney to avoid the crowd control. He knows that's the game-winning crowd control, and Looney needs to stay as far away from Minpoike as possible.
Yeah, right now, Wildcard Gaming is very vulnerable. Good counter pressure on Valet, though. Nice leg sweep from Blizzo, making sure Valet's not feeling too confident in this matchup. Full Hammer of Justice paired with the Kidney Shot. Z-Pie could be in a lot of trouble, but a beautiful Ring of Peace forces a lot of damage reduction onto Acro, and Z-Pie manages to survive, and now it's Valet that's in trouble. He's gotten to a stun. Void Shift was used on him in Poike. Valet keeps himself alive, but at what cost?
Blizzo was the MVP on that play, protecting Z-Pie, interrupting the Repentance, protecting his entire team. He's an amazing warrior, but his Arms Warrior not in the best position at the moment. He's playing just as phenomenally on that Windwalker, shutting down 2 locations in 2 important moments and saving the team, now buying them an opportunity to battle back. Vendetta available, though, here for Acro shortly. Already Life Cocoon shredded through. Looney sets up crowd control as they push for a kill on Valet. Poike has to be the one to respond, breaking out of that stun. He's going to have to use the Blessing of Sacrifice to redirect damage. Doesn't look like it. Big Holy Light comes in. Another Holy Light in the back line. All right, once again, Looney, Minpoike can carry the team. He's charging across center field. Looney still repositions. Minpoike moves in. This Hammer of Justice Repentance, they need to stop it. Repentance gets wind sheared. Good shutdown. That Kidney Shot was 1 second too late, but can they still find it? Silence instead. They need the Repentance. Looney is line of sighting it at this cart in the ooze. When Poike can't get the crowd control, they go for blind instead. A few more seconds to that Glidier's Medallion as Looney didn't have it lined up perfectly. Mind Bomb to cross crowd control Blizzo. They pull the Astral Shift from Z-Pie. With no Astral Shift and no Glidier's Medallion on Looney. Once again, the crowd control of Minpoike can close it out and put Wildcard Gaming on match point.
This positioning has just been phenomenal from Wildcard Gaming. Minpoike has not been able to get the Repentance. The Z-Pie is always there to back him up with the wind shear, with the grounding totem. And if he can't, Looney can just easily line of sight. Change my mind. They're not in the worst situation, though. Minpoike actually has a massive mana lead. Z-Pie still falling low behind. Change my mind, actually doing quite well. There's a full silence on Looney. He preemptively gets the Life Cocoon out. Full Kidney Shot. Z-Pie trinkets out, just trying to use the mobility of that Elemental Shaman paired up with Blizzo, who can keep everyone snared, using the Ring of Peace, keeping Valet out of line of sight. Right now, Wildcard Gaming is doing quite well, but Change My Mind is still in it.
Poike in a paralysis. Valet the target here. Blizzo trying to carry the team. He wants to put his team on match point and then just advance in the lower bracket. We were not expecting Change My Mind to even be putting up a fight without their mage player Fried Kitty, but they are playing out of this world here against Wildcard Gaming. Z-Pie's down at half. Blizzo once again desperately trying to stall with the leg sweep, but not able to. Blessing of Protection removes that to allow Acro to play aggressively. Z-Pie's line of sighting Valet to avoid the dispels on his Ghost Wolf. If they can remove this Ghost Wolf, he will lose a lot of healing. Valet pushes up on the tombstone. He's dispelling. Will he find it? He needs to remove the Ghost Wolf. Astral Shift. It has to be enough. Will it be? The crowd control is endless. Ring of Peace protects Z-Pie from Acro, but not from Valet. Z-Pie with good positioning around the tomb has managed to weather the storm and survive the vendetta of Acro. Blizzo now with Touch of Death available is going to push for Dispersion. Is Valet ready?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see if he can hold on just a little bit longer still. Minpoike's mana is doing quite well. Full Kidney Shot on Z-Pie. If Minpoike can get in a position to land a Repentance, things are going to get scary for Wildcard Gaming. Looney decides to trinket out of the blind, managing to push in for crowd control on him. Minpoike lands the full leg sweep. Z-Pie in trouble. There's the cheap shot. Potentially set up Minpoike, but he's out of line of sight. He can't get the Repentance. A little bit of a disaster there for Wildcard Gaming, but Acro manages to land a beautiful interrupt on the Looney. And Z-Pie still in a lot of trouble. Can Change My Mind claim game number 3. Ring of Peace denies Acro follow-up damage. Z-Pie manages to hold on.
Look at the mana. It's down to the wire here as dampening has just set in. Z-Pie gets stunned. He's not in Ghost Wolf. Any crowd control on Looney. This could just be over. There is no defense. Repentance is secured, and it's all on Blizzo to protect Z-Pie, but I don't think he can do it. Change My Mind, put Wildcard Gaming on match point.
The snipe with the Maldic from Vilay at the end of that one. Another incredible game here. And honestly, I'll be real. When I saw the Elemental Windwalker, I didn't necessarily know how much I liked that composition compared to the protection of the Frost Mage.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. The Frost Mage is a pretty good answer against Holy Paladin teams because you can just crowd control a lot of these Repentances. You have, of course, the ranged interrupt as well with the counter spell, so you can really punish it. But here, I really thought that, wow, this Ring of Peace was beautiful by Blizzo. Acro, you know, he got knocked on that smoke bomb, and I thought Z-Pi was going to recover here. You know, Looney still had that Way of the Crane that he could activate, but then Mimpoike pushes in, gets the Hammer of Justice into the Repentance. Vilay, of course, with that damage from his Insanity, and they even had a Fear and a Silence still to go. This composition really seems to shine against these Monk teams because you have so much damage to go with that crowd control, and it seems like you kind of get the best of both worlds. You have essentially the Rogue Mage crowd control with the Holy Paladin, bringing in the Repentance and bringing in, you know, the Hammer of Justice as well, but you also have a little bit more durability and a little bit more reliable damage from that Shadow Priest. So it seems like a really well-rounded comp, and Change My Mind, they're starting to change everybody's mind here.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. He's even changing Z-Pi's mind. Like, Z-Pi's like, I can't believe we lost again. They've won the last 3 European Cups, Wildcard Gaming. Change My Mind haven't won a single cup. And now they're here at the Spring Finals. Somehow, some way, with 3 members, find themselves 1 game away from eliminating Wildcard Gaming, many people's favorites, Van.
Yeah, I mean, Wildcard Gaming is in a bit of a pickle right now. I feel like if they did go back to that Frost Mage Elemental Shaman, that would be the composition that they need. It seemed really good in game number 2. I'm not sure why they decided to switch it up.
Stop playing Mistweaver into this comp.
Stop.
That's the only thing that needs to stop. No more Mistweaver.
It's just classes that are susceptible to offensive dispel. I mean, maybe Adrian can talk a little bit about this as he plays Shadow Priest at a high level, but that dispel magic is just so effective against the Mistweaver Monk.
I'm curious. I wonder do you guys think the Restoration Druid would have mana issues against the Shadow Priest Rogue? Maybe that's why they're concerned about it, Sid?
I mean, it could be the case. Are we finally figuring, is this the meta counter? Does this comp beat Druids and Mistweavers?
Does this beat MLD, Sid?
I don't know if anything beats MLD at this point in the tournament.
I actually don't think this composition should beat Elemental Shaman Frost Mage.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm genuinely really confused as to why Wildcard Gaming, you know, this was... I don't even think the map matters. I feel like Mage Elemental, like the way they won on game 2 was just running at Poike. Surely a smaller map is better for that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're afraid of Poike going back to the Restoration Druid in that match, but even then, I just feel like the Shadow Priest is very vulnerable to being bullied by a Frost Mage, by an Elemental Shaman. It's just like a Destruction Warlock. You just keep snares on them, you have plenty of interrupts to shut them down, and when Change My Mind is going for these long, extended crowd control chains, you have a Frost Mage to just spam Polymorph, deny it, and then you're advantaged once again.
Yeah, it's really an unbelievable situation we're in here, guys. Like, I don't think any of us could have predicted this. I mean, the team themselves, when we were talking to them on Friday prior to the broadcast, they were like, well, you know, obviously not a good situation. Fried Kitty had played in 91% of their games prior to attending this tournament, and now Change My Mind, you know, they're just kind of toying with everyone playing the Shadow Priest Rogue composition, a composition, by the way, which we saw the move really struggling to execute in North America, losing out to all these cleaves, and now Change My Mind, and they find themselves 2-1 up against, you know, the cleave gods from Europe.
Maybe the key was getting rid of the Shaman.
maybe Avstar should start playing Paladin and Druid. Maybe that's the thing here. Maybe the Shaman's the weak
again,
link.
Really.
Yeah.
It was a good time to use it.
It was a good time. But we do see Mimpoike curiously on Tolvaron Arena. He swapped over to the Restoration Druid. Do you think this speaks to how the Paladin played out against the Elemental Mage in Game 2?
Yes, I think that the Paladin against Elemental Mage, like we kind of already mentioned, you're going to be susceptible to the swaps. You're going to be a lot more susceptible to crowd control as well. So I think it's an intelligent thing to do. The big thing that the Paladin really adds is the damage, I think. It's really underrated, but I think Holy Paladins right now, they have an easy time doing damage, and they deal a lot of damage. And it's very, very important with a composition like the Shadow Priest Rogue, where it seems like you have a lot of consistent damage, but you lack a little bit of that burst. So having a Paladin who can provide that extra bit of burst with that crowd control is really what makes their composition so good. So I think the fact that Wildcard Gaming are able to force Mimpoike to swap off the Paladin is actually really good for them in the long run. But Then again, if Wildcard Gaming wins this, they're going to be locking in blind.
Now, isn't this a composition Changed My Mind? So when talking to Changed My Mind about what they're running right now, the Shadow Priest, Rogue, Druid, they said a lot of teams get deceived into running melee cleaves against them because of how durable Shadow Priests are. When they get interrupted on the Vampiric Touch, that's when Valet can go crazy with the Dispel Magic, remove all those heal over time effects. They can get that crowd control chain running. So maybe Wildcard Gaming, they don't know exactly what they should be running. I really thought on this bigger map, they were setting themselves up for success with the Frostmage Elemental Shaman, but they decided to go with the Windwalker Death Knight, which to me is a little bit weird because Tolvaron doesn't seem like the best map for that.
I guess we should consider the first game that Never Lucky had in this matchup yesterday.
Well, I think what this draft in general really shows us is the thought process of the players. So we see the map is Tolvaron. What does Minpoike do? Immediately goes up the Holy Paladin. And we know that Tolvaron was starting to set up for the Mage Elemental Druid, so we can confidently say the Mage Elemental Druid is not something that they want to play into the Shadow Priest Rogue Druid. That's why they are picking the way they're picking. So now that the Minpoike blind locks the Druid, they go for the melee cleave. But this is also kind of nice for Change My Mind because they take the largest map and they force Wildcard to go on a melee cleave.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what we've got here, folks. A 2-1 advantage for Change My Mind. Even if they do lose this game, they will have the map and composition advantage going into Game 5. We'll have to see if Wildcard Gaming can pull something out the hat.
This is a situation that nobody could have predicted. Minpoike, Acro, Lulz, and Valet. Their fourth player, their mage, Fried Kitty, the composition that they had, I think, over 90%. They played with Fried Kitty for 90% of their competitive play in the spring season. Couldn't attend this event, so they're playing without him. They are forced into a corner, and this Shadow Priest Rogue has managed to find the victory against Never Lucky of North America, and now Wildcard Gaming of Europe, they've got him on match point.
Match point for Wildcard Gaming. They got to figure something out. Tournament lives on the line right now. Walking into this tournament, I feel like a lot of people expected them to walk away with the entire thing, earn their spot to BlizzCon, but it's an uphill battle at this point.
I'm very curious to see if Wildcard Gaming can stay alive. This is an elimination game for them. No mistakes can be made. Acro already pulling the Gliders Medallion from Looney with a blind, creating openings for his team early on. Acro weaving in and out to avoid being leg swept, trying to get in there, but gets gripped into it. Zipai is not going to be fooling around, immediately summoning in that Abomination. Valet is trying to get it under control with a shackle, but being denied. That Abomination is getting full uptime. They want to go after Acro, but he is now able to sort of bob and weave in and out of the fight. And Poike stunned, but no momentum just yet. Acro saved his kidney shot to stun Blizzo while Minpoike was stunned, so good defensive posturing from Change My Mind early on as they wait for that Abomination to fade, which it now has.
Yeah, Blizzo hasn't been forced away just yet. Normally in this matchup, we see Change My Mind's composition. They go after the Windwalker Monk, force him to run away, but they just haven't found the damage yet. Blizzo with a beautiful diffuse magic before the kidney shot. Still trades out his trinket, uses that Transcendence to get away, relaying his port. So Blizzo's going to be relatively safe as long as he has his portal in a good spot. Good pressure here, still for Change My Mind. The crowd control isn't over. Blizzo forced to trade out his Touch of Karma, and all of a sudden, Blizzo went from having every single defensive to none at all. Wildcard Gaming is very vulnerable.
This is match point. They've still got Looney locked down, and they've still got a lot of damage. Life Cocoon is going to save Blizzo, but Cyclone at low health. Minpoike switching between Paladin to Druid, making it look like he has been playing Druid all day. Look at these Cyclones, denying the Touch of Death Burst, denying the absorption effect of Looney's Life Cocoon. Now, can they set up crowd control? Silence. Looney is
in
able
trouble.
to get out of that. Now stunned up, but with no crowd control. Looney is dealing with the pressure quite well. Blizzo wants to push forward, but he's so vulnerable in this position. They try to swap to Minpoike. He trades Barkskin, manages to escape to safety. Vampiric Embrace from Valet should stabilize the team throughout this onslaught. Acro still crowd control Looney with a kick. I'm wondering if Valet is running the Mind Bomb talent. If they got a silence Mind Bomb anytime soon, that could pull a Glider's Medallion, and if they get that before blind, that could just be the end of the game. This could just be the end of the tournament for Wildcard Gaming, the #2 seed from Europe. We were saying that they could take this entire thing, and they're going to lose to a team that's a man down in desperation, backed into a corner.
Yeah, Minpoike, he managed to sit down and recover some of his mana by sipping on some water. Acro and Valet both rotting down, though. This could be dangerous. In the meantime, Blizzo taking quite a bit of burst. Changed my mind. Under pressure. What are they going to be able to get done? Mind Bomb onto Looney. Kidney Shot on Blizzo. Anti-Magic Zone. It has to be enough. Blizzo holds on. Gets Cyclone on his Trinket, but he still has Touch of Karma, Diffuse Magic, as well as that Fortifying Brew. So a lot of defenses available here for Wildcard Gaming. As long as he doesn't get caught in his stun, things are going to be looking good.
Beautiful Cyclones from Minpoike, now switching the crowd control over to Looney. Not able to find the Cyclone, actually. Z-Pipe protects him with a Death Grip and a stun. Now they actually swapped him in Minpoike, trying to soften him up and go after him. But I will say Minpoike's experience in Druid unlikely to go down as easily as he did with the Paladin in this situation. So Wildcard Gaming still have a lot of work ahead of them. No Gladiator's Medallion, no on either Blizzo or Looney. This is dangerous. There's Vendetta. If they can kill him in a stun, he's not going to be able to access Touch of Karma or Diffuse Magic. Acro could set up for victory. Change My Mind must know that, but they're also in danger with no Gladiator's Medallion on their healer or their Shadow Priest, so it's a risky move to go for. They are going to go for it. They need another stun. Blizzo comes out. He Diffuse Magics. He needs to potentially Touch of Karma, sap out of the Mind Bomb. Acro sets up for victory. Blizzo Transcendence is away. Looney is still locked down. Blizzo needs to try and avoid it, but Acro's all over him. Valet trying to march forward, but he's snared, not able to connect. Good avoidance from Blizzo. Now he's pushing forward for some damage on him in Minpoike. What can he get done? Minpoike exchanges Barkskin and Iron Bark, connects the Swiftmend, and stabilizes. Looking at the mana, still too close to call. It's anyone's match. Cooldown-wise, Change My Mind are ahead.
Yeah, this is something I consistently call out, but Blizzo, Transcendence, middle of the map. This is looking good for Change My Mind. Blizzo, he has his Trinket, but he doesn't have an escape route. If they catch him in a stun, if Blizzo gets caught a little bit far behind, it's going to be difficult for him to actually retreat. But a nice swap over on him in Minpoike. They could just take him down. Gladiator Safeguard procs, Minpoike in full retreat. Blizzo chasing him down, and now into a full Kidney Shot. Smoke Bomb gets traded out. Blizzo Trinkets into a Cheap Shot. Good crowd control here for Change My Mind.
Oh,
and Blizzo hold on.
They silence the Death Knight to stop his denial to get a Cyclone. Clutch play by Valet, but now he won't be able to Mind Bomb with the chain, and that was a much more threatening chain. I'm not sure if that was necessary. Minpoike is stunned up in midfield, trying to kite and avoid Blizzo and Z-Pipe, but they are just zug-zugging down the healer. Will Minpoike be able to deal with the pressure? Can he keep it together? Can they pull off the victory against the Titans? Wildcard Gaming.
Yeah, Minpoike, you can see, looking to get out of combat, looking to get some mana returned. Acro with a nice Shadow Step kick on the Looney. Blizzo still a little bit vulnerable. He's actually running the good Karma talent, so not using the Ring of Peace, but when he uses that Touch of Karma, he will get some additional healing, which makes it very difficult for Change My Mind to push through that defensive cooldown. If they decide to just attack into it, Blizzo's going to get healed up, and they might not know that.
Yeah, most certainly could be the case. Valet now the target. Nice double leg sweep from Blizzo. Good pressure on two targets. Minpoike burning through mana fast, and now getting swapped to Wildcard Gaming, keeping Change My Mind on their toes. Multiple fronts of danger at this point. Fade exchanges by Valet. That makes him immune to incoming damage. Now looking to counterattack. Gladiator's Maledict activated. Looney dispels that instantaneously. Blind. No Gladiator's Medallion for Looney. Touch of Karma. If they can cut through the Touch of Karma, they don't trust it. They're going to use the anti-magic zone as well. They get the sap. Perfect follow-up by Acro. This could just be it. Do they have anything off the back of the sap?
Blizzo
Doesn't
ports
look like
it.
any ports nowhere. He gets mind controlled back into midfield by Valet. Despite the blunder, doesn't get punished. And Blizzo, you cannot afford these mistakes. You're on match point, man.
Yeah, Minpoike managed to sneak away, get a little bit of mana back. Unfortunately, didn't have the time. There's still good pressure here for Wildcard Gaming. Blizzo now surviving, has his Trinket, has a Fortifying Brew. Things are looking good. Valet getting low. This could be the dispersion easily. Blizzo with the Whirling Dragon Punch. Valet with a well-timed Greater Fade does manage to escape. Right now, Change My Mind. They're still just going after Blizzo. Good crowd control on Looney, but Minpoike is really struggling to keep his team alive.
He most certainly is, but the mana is still even. Dampening continues to rise. They pull Gladiator's Medallion from Acro. He's a swap target now later on. Looney playing Way of the Crane could make a push for his team as well. He has not used it the entire match. That could add enough damage to find a kill, though. Minpoike gets gripped into the fray. 3 targets stacked up. That's going to be a lot of pressure that Minpoike needs to deal with swiftly. He is able to wild charge to safety in the back line. I love that Change My Mind took advantage of this map for their own favor. They switch to Z-Pi, knowing that deep in dampening, the Death Knight is more vulnerable. They pull his most vital defensive cooldown, Icebound Fortitude, right before that critical 40% point. Now there's 2 targets that Looney needs to be worried about. Change My Mind are setting themselves up well for victory if they can hold it together.
Yeah, Valet taking quite a bit of burst. There's a Cyclone on Zeepai. They're changing their target. Zeepai getting low. He has to trinket out. Anti-magic shell. And now Zeepai, he's got nothing left. There's still crowd control on Looney. Is he going to trade out his trinket? He has the life cocoon if he needs it. Zeepai has to get off some death strikes to stay alive. And it looks like Wildcard Gaming, they're going to be switching it up. They're going after Minpoike. He's got no trinket, but Smoke Bomb getting dropped out. Zeepai could be in some trouble. Looney activates the life cocoon. Nice life grip there by Valet. That leap of faith to save Minpoike. Zeepai gets topped off, but still really vulnerable.
All right, Acro in a stun. Huge damage. Valet once again saving the day. Void Chip, and now Blizzard switches targets. Trying to capitalize on that and keep Minpoike pressured. Mana slightly in favor of Wildcard Gaming now, but cooldown-wise, Zeepai is exposed. Valet has Vampiric Embrace rolling. That's going to heal the whole team up. Well timed by Valet right now. These last 3 pushes, he is totally shut down Wildcard Gaming single-handedly. Blind, big move here. No defense. Can they get on target? Acro is Chains of Ice. He has to pick between sapping and doing damage, but he can't even get there to sap. They break up the chain. Looney's out of crowd control, but Minpoike leads in with a bash. Is he just going to go down to bash? 4 more seconds to that anti-magic shield, or sorry, to the life cocoon. Anti-magic shield available to buy that time. Zeepai holds on, but I would have never thought that Change My Mind are this close to eliminating Wildcard Gaming. Nobody could have predicted it, and it's still anyone's game. You don't want to go anywhere. This is coming down to the wire.
It definitely is. Wildcard Gaming tournament life on the line at this point. They're battling it back, forcing Valet into the dispersion. Minpoike completely out of mana. Have they turned this fight in their favor? There's a full kidney shot. Cheap shot onto Looney's Way of the Crane. Looney looking to get really aggressive. I think that's his first Way of the Crane of the entire game. Wants to finally push Change My Mind over, but they're managing to hold on. I think they ran out of time. Valet slowly but surely will fall with the full leg sweep. Minpoike just nothing left, no gas. And Wildcard Gaming tie off this series in a very close game.
We are going to Game 5 here. Upsets everywhere, but Change My Mind could not quite get the kill there. I really thought they had that one for a long segment of that game, but Wildcard Gaming will not go down without a fight.
This really looked like Change My Mind's game to lose. At some point, when they were pressuring Blizzo, I really think Minpoike maybe could have snuck away and tried to get some drinks. There was a couple of opportunities for it, but still, this was a super well-fought game. As soon as Zeepai manages to survive, though, and Blizzo no longer is the target that's being pressured, we saw the pressure of Wildcard Gaming really go up. And, I mean, this was a game where Change My Mind essentially ran out of time. A lot of it is due to things like this paralyzed right there on Acro, shutting down these mind bomb sap attempts, shutting down the blind sap earlier on as well. A lot of these plays are because Acrolos is opting to use his Shadow Meld to get the follow-up saps. Regardless, really, really close. This game could have gone either way, and now you're going to have Game 5. You're going to potentially be able to lock in the Paladin, and if Wildcard Gaming locks in this composition, well, guess what? Holy Paladins can remove Touch of Karma with that Blessing of Protection, so this is really scary for Wildcard Gaming.
It doesn't get much worse, right? I mean, they actually at the composition and map disadvantage going into Game 5 against Change My Mind. But I do want to give credit to Wildcard Gaming because, like you said, you know, we've been complimenting Change My Mind this entire time. Absolutely unbelievable, a day of upsets, truly. But Wildcard Gaming had to really execute in this matchup, Venruki, and they did it to a T to actually be able to turn that around. Yeah,
Blizzo was the main target throughout that entire game, and with his talent choices, with the way he geared his character, he was really focused on that impassive Visage Azurite trade, you know, the strength in numbers to increase his max hit points, as well as running talents you don't normally see, like the good karma to heal himself up. I think he may have thrown them for a loop, not expecting that amount of damage. I think he was actually Dark Iron Dwarf as well, so that's a really powerful racial with the Fire Blood to remove those magic effects as well as some of those bleed effects. It's just really powerful against the Assassination Rogue, so I think they knew exactly what they needed to do in this matchup, but the Holy Paladin might make things interesting.
Yeah, Wildcard Gaming really are pulling out all the stocks here, stacking the deck, if you will. We'll see if they can stack it all the way after this. Big Brain, Broad to Match, Change My Mind are one game away from eliminating Wildcard Gaming. We're on Game 5. Championship Sunday has not disappointed so far. And ladies and gentlemen, Hook Point will be be the final resting place for one of these teams.
Yeah, most certainly will be a hook, line, and sinker. Wildcard Gaming changed my mind. They're tied 2-2, and nobody could have guessed that this would have happened between these teams. Changed my mind a bit. Coming to this event, down a player, Fried Kitty, their mage, and he was pivotal to their team. So in desperation, with no stress and nothing really on the line, they pulled out the Shadow Priest Rogan. Well, it's working better for them than anything else in the spring season, and they may just be able to take down Wildcard Gaming, a team that we expected to take the entire tournament. This game will decide it. The winner advances, the loser goes home.
Yeah, we'll have to see what exactly Morrow can get done. So far, he's been doing a really good job in the series. When they played the Elemental Frost Mage, it was not even close. Acro's going to have to do a good job shutting him down in this match, and I'm curious, for change my mind, who do they go after? Are they just going to play the control game, go after Morrow, utilize the defensive dispel that Valet has available? And I think if they do that, it's going to be really difficult for Morrow to survive.
Yeah, it most certainly could be. I do like that Looney has switched off the Mistweaver Monk. I think that specialization would have just lost the tournament. So on his Druid, Minpoike's Druid, head-to-head between Titans. Looney, the BlizzCon champion from years prior. Can he keep it together for his team? They're on match points. Valet, Acro, and Minpoike, they've got so much synergy on this composition, and it's almost as if they've been playing it their entire lives. Looney is still locked down. Morrow the target, isolated. Big hits rolling in. Acro keeps the chain going. This could be an ice block forced early on by Change My Mind. Can they get it? They need it. They're just a couple points of damage away, but they don't get it. Denied.
Morrow just playing it so greedy. Now into a full kidney shot with the smoke bomb. Do they have the damage to force the ice block? Blizzo with a beautiful ring of peace does back up Morrow just a little bit. Morrow blinks away, uses the ice barrier, and manages to hold on to that precious ice block.
All right, Morrow, can you keep it up here against Change My Mind? Any mistakes? Both sides are literally sweating as we see them on the cameras in the bottom left and right-hand side. It's been a long and grueling battle between these teams in the lower bracket as Europe looks to eliminate a European team as well. There's only one North American team left in the tournament, and that's going to be up next. Cloud9, the last hope for North America. Every single team was respecting them as the team to take it in the tournament, but Change My Mind, the dark horse, the underdog of the tournament, might have something to say about that if they can eliminate Wildcard Gaming here in Game 5.
We'll have to see if they can get it done. Morrow finding some crowd control onto Acro. His objective in this game, when he's in trouble, he just needs to run away from Valet, avoid a lot of those Dispel Magic effects, so he can keep those heal over times from Looney, as well as that precious Ice Barrier, which is a huge absorb Frost Mages have available. You can see it utilized right now on his character. If Valet can dispel that, that's going to be devastating for Morrow. But if he can keep that up by using line of sight, just doing these hit and run strategies, Morrow just moves in. When Blizzo has Fist of Fear, when he has good burst damage, that's when they can get aggressive. And Poike playing the balance affinity, actually, it's just so difficult in this matchup for Morrow to get the crowd control he really needs. Unless Looney's able to push in, get a bash, that could set Morrow up for a Ring of Frost. But on his own, it is so unlikely Morrow does manage to find the polymorph.
The competition this year is at its pinnacle. It is at its apex. Even a team down a member is taking out the #2 seed from Europe potentially here in Game 5. Acro engaging crowd control. Morrow the target. They need to get an ice block. They're 1 second away off the end of the sap. Morrow once again dancing with death here, holding on by a thread, holding out as long as possible, not willing to trade out that ice block. A risky gamble, but he gets away with it again. Mana totally even, and it's anyone's match still. Good denial on Blizzo's Touch of Death with that Cyclone. Not going to be pulling too many powerful cooldowns, and I must say, commend Minpoike. He has stepped up in this tournament. His mindset, his focus on positivity for his team is definitely paying off.
Yeah, it definitely is, and like you said, these Druids are relatively even on mana, but right now Looney does have a slight advantage. And if this game keeps going on and Morrow's able to hold on to those 2 ice blocks, that may be too little too late for Change My Mind. They have to start forcing out some of these cooldowns, but Looney, he's always just sitting on the Iron Bark position very far away. The Ring of Pieces from Blizzo have been really protective for Morrow, denying Acro any sort of damage. Morrow's been doing a really good job in this matchup, kiting, landing the Frost Novas, landing the polymorphs he needs. But these Garrote Silences from Acro will shut down some of that crowd control. Morrow continuing to just run and hide down into a kidney shot. Unfortunately, it was just a half kidney shot on Morrow. Bit of a misplay there for Acro.
Hook Point's the smallest map in the game. You really can't drink on this map. You can close the distance so easily. Look, Looney's trying to. Minpoike sees him, runs across the field, denies it. No mana regenerated for Looney. Bashed on his Innervate. That is devastating for Wildcard Gaming because this could come down to mana. Minpoike denies the Innervate, gets the crowd control, creates an opening for the team. Acro tried to move over, maybe to potentially sap out of it, but not going to find it. Blizzo now cycloned up, denying the reconnect. Still a slight lead for Change My Mind. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth. There is a lead for Change My Mind. They are down a player in this tournament. They're in a lower bracket. They've faced elimination time and time again, but somehow they're keeping it together. And I don't even think Wildcard Gaming could have expected this. Even every time they lose to Change My Mind, they're just like, what happened? What has just happened? And here in desperation, they break out Windwalker Frostmage to try and figure out an answer to this Shadow Priest Rogue, and it has to be enough. This is match point. Everything comes down to it.
Yeah, they're going after Acro now, and Acro is actually really vulnerable. He's used his Cloak of Shadows. He's used his Feign. He really doesn't have much left. And Poike gets caught into a bash. He has a Trinket as well as his Ironbark, forced to trade both out in order to keep Acro alive. Blizzo looking to get hyper-aggressive right now with that touch of death. Acro with the Shadow Step, Smoke Bomb, Kidney Shot on Morrow. Morrow Trinket's out, still trying to kite away. Avoiding using this Ice Walk at all costs, but finally,
overlap.
The first one is traded out with an overlap from Looney.
Acro, though, is still in trouble. If Change My Mind can't get him regenerated back to full, it could be trouble. Morrow gets stunned. No way out. Ironbark's defense is going to be fading. Valet will be stripping off those heal over time effects. Mana is still totally even. Cooldowns as well, I would say, in this position are very close. These teams are so evenly matched in Game 5. It could go either way. Morrow is cycloned at a little bit low health. Minpoike's cyclones have been so amazing. Looney tries to respond with one of his own, but gets denied by Valet. Now a Mind Bomb. This is trouble. Trouble town for Morrow if Acro can connect. Blizzo preventing Acro from making it over, but he does inevitably. They strip off the Temporal Shield instantly. Ring of Peace denies a little bit of the reconnect, but Acro is still poking him with the Fan of Knives. Frost Nova. Morrow tries to pause the fight as long as possible, but Looney, he seems to be struggling. Now finally able to get crowd control on Minpoike Bash. He tries to life grip him out of line of sight of the Cyclone, but not able to, actually life gripping Acro to safety at the pillar. Minpoike comes out of the Cyclone, no follow-up. Ironbark saves the day. Looney escapes. Is he going to be able to regenerate mana? If Looney gets mana on this drink, it could be the game-winning play. I think he's going to. Minpoike's trying to get there. He snipes him with the Vortex, but he already got mana. That's devastating for Change My Mind.
This is disastrous for Change My Mind. That's what they needed, but Looney was able to sneak away in a moment of offense for his team. Looney now with the Ironbark on the silence into a full Mind Bomb. Morrow still just one Ice Walk away. Could potentially fall. Acro has to trade out his Vanish as well. That's just great pressure coming in from Blizzo and Morrow. Everything on the line for both of these teams. This is an elimination match. They will be knocked out of this tournament if they lose. Morrow getting low. Is this going to be a second Ice Walk? Bash on the Looney. Doesn't want to have to trade out his Trinket. Icy Veins gets traded out by Morrow. Looking to get hyper-aggressive onto Acro. Valet backing him up with a beautiful Dispel. Removing that offensive cooldown. And now, Touch of Death on Acro. Ironbark has a response, and even on mana, both of these Druids are.
Even with the drink, the mana's evened out. It's still anyone's fire, 15% dampening. Blind, Looney Trinkets, now exposed to Silence Mind Bomb. Valet has the crowd control. Acro has the damage. If they line it up, this should be an easy ice block and likely the last one of the game. They can line up another setup after that. Change My Mind, eliminate Wildcard Gaming. Absolutely unbelievable. Blizzo, of course, is going to do everything in his power to deny that, keeping pressure up on Acro throughout, but Vendetta has been bopped. The Mind Bomb has been secured. Morrow's second ice block is the target. They get it, and Change My Mind are one setup away from eliminating Wildcard Gaming.
This is unbelievable. Valet, he still has his Void Shift. There's the Kidney Shot on Morrow. Ring of Peace, the last line of defense. Morrow, can they take him down? Change My Mind, looking to pull off a miracle in this matchup. Looney does stabilize his health, and Morrow does manage to survive.
No evasion for Acro. No ice blocks for Morrow. No mana for either Restoration Druid. You couldn't ask for a better Game 5 in the lower bracket as both teams face elimination. They both lose out on an opportunity to qualify directly to the BlizzCon World Finals. They all lose out on an opportunity at $50,000 in one game, and they are so close to victory on either side. Looney predicts the silence, and Ironbark's right before it, denying the kill. Minpoike equally so, anticipating crowd control with Ironbark, but as Ironbark fades, that's the last line of defense for either side.
Kidney Shot on Morrow. They got the Smoke Bomb paralysis. They're looking to close out this game and send Wildcard Gaming home. Morrow in desperation, Temporal Shield. Looney finds some heals. Beautiful peels by Blizzo to keep Morrow alive. Now Wildcard Gaming, they have to find some counter pressure in this matchup, or it's just a matter of time before they lose.
These teams are of such a top level that the last line just keeps moving back. They get a sap. They catch Looney while he was trying to go for a drink. He's totally exposed. Then Poike, where are the clones? Maybe they don't have the diminishing returns. They go for the Mind Bomb instead. They go for the safe play. They keep it clean. They keep it clinical. And Change My Mind are seconds away from killing Morrow. They're seconds away from eliminating Wildcard Gaming. Looney doing everything he can. He's got no mana. He's blinded up. He trinkets. Morrow is still being pressured. Blizzo tries to counter aggress, but he gets cycloned and denied. Poike is absolutely playing out of his mind right now, denying the counter pressure. Dispel instantly on the Maledict, but Morrow is so low and dampening is so high. Temporal Shield in the last and final seconds of the game. Will it be enough if Acro can connect? He can't. Blizzo's denying the connect. Ring of Peace, double leg sweep, and Blizzo is trying to turn this around.
This would be a complete miracle if they could take down Acro. There is no way. Boychip comes out from Belay, and Poike can't believe it. He has to keep Acro and Belay alive. Morrow's still low. This is do or die for both of these teams. Silence in the Mind Bomb. Belay with game-winning crowd control, but Morrow with the Icy Veins immediately dispelled by Belay. Morrow's still running. He's still hiding. He has Cold Snap in just 10 short seconds. He has to hold on. Blizzo doing everything he can. There's the Cyclone from Poike denying some of the damage, but Acro's in a lot of trouble.
3, he's in a stun, he can't do it. Looney's Iron Bark buys some time. There we go, he's got another block. Wildcard Gaming suddenly have the cooldowns to survive. They suddenly have an opportunity to stay alive in the lower bracket. They've got a lead, but the mana's totally tapped still. Pressure is still mounting. They could immediately get the ice block. Blizzo is playing out of his mind, snaring Acro. He's trying to vivify and heal Marman. Poike is star searching. He's gonna get the ice block for the team here. There's no defense. There's nothing left in this match. Dampening is totally at critical mass. There's no mana. There's nothing.
There it is.
The underdogs of the tournament are gonna take it. They're gonna take it. They have done it. Outstanding.
Outstanding on hook point. Never has that word been used so well. The disbelief, the energy. Change My Mind have defeated Wildcard Gaming in the 2019 Spring Finals, eliminating the 3-time European Cup champions.
Unbelievable performance. I could not believe it. When Morrow survived before his ice block was even up, I thought for sure he was gonna go down. Blizzo playing out of his mind, keeping him alive, but the CC chain is too strong. Villet coming in with the dispels, with the damage. That final crowd control as well. I mean, Poike, you could tell how badly these guys wanted it. What a performance and what a way to do it. These guys have been losing to Wildcard Gaming the entire season. Now they don't have their mage, their main component, to even make their team get here, and they beat them on the stage. Wow.
What is happening? This is the best championship Sunday we have ever seen, flat out. First series, upset, AWC defeat the boys, the North American number 2, defeated by the European number 4. Now, Wildcard Gaming. They won the last 3 European Cups. They have been completely dominant in the European scene, beaten by 3/4 of the number 3 team here, Change My Mind. And then next, we have Method Black against Cloud9. Ladies and gentlemen, Zico, hold me.
At this point, I'm just pointing at the screen telling Van, look, he has Cold Snap. He's gonna live. Morrow, he gets the Iron Bark, he survives, he has a Temporal Shield, everything is looking good, but Looney has no mana, he has no trinket. I mean, Poike gets the bash, doesn't want to follow it up with the Cyclone because he wants Villet to get that Mind Bomb, and then they get the Mind Bomb, DR Cyclone, Villet removes the Ice Block with that Master Spell, and as soon as Acro can sink his teeth into Morrow, it's gonna be game. Shadow steps over, gets the kidney shot. I mean, Poike, look at him on that Moonkin, spamming Solar Wrap and Star Surges, just trying to add any damage he can to take him down, and Acro sending home his former teammate from last year from the Spring Finals. Look how happy they are to do it as well. Wow.
This is why I love WoW.
Wow. Wow.
Do you think Change My Mind has changed their mind about this composition?
Maybe, Fried Kitty, can you play a Shadow Priest? Maybe we should get some more Shadow Priest, some more Rogues. And Jesus, what is happening in this tournament? Absolutely unbelievable. Changed My Mind. Huge underdogs throughout the tournament, able to take down another notch on their belt here with Wildcard Gaming.
Yeah, what a beautiful series that was. I mean, they did not believe they were going to win that series. So winning it for them is as sweet as it will ever be. And I really feel like this is one of those tournaments that really forces this team to diversify their roster just a little bit. And my hat's off to them, because that Shadow Priest, Rogue, Restoration Druid, and Paladin, it looks solid.
Who's even the MVP in that? Do you think they all just played equally?
I don't think there is an MVP, honestly.
They just all were fantastic. Yeah. I mean, we've had criticism of Mimpoike throughout the season, and even, to be honest, throughout last year at some points. You know, he got kicked off his roster of Tempo Storm, replaced by Botar. Here, he really showed up, I think. Like, for me, obviously, Acroloz and Vilai were playing fantastically. Absolutely, exceptionally, to be honest. But Mimpoike showed us something that we haven't seen from him, which is, you know, in addition to his Restoration Druid play, he brought in the Paladin here.
Oh, I mean, him on the Paladin, him on the Restoration Druid, he was really bringing it to Wildcard Gaming in that series. And I think this series, more than really any I've seen before, this tournament really more than I've seen before, is Valet is showcased in a way where you really see how talented he is at Shadow Priest. The way he peeled, uses his defensive cooldowns, his offense, it was just on point throughout the entire series, throughout the entire tournament. And these guys are just firing on all cylinders.
They really are, and they've got much more to do if they are to take this tournament. Vilai, I love you. Aya's got him on the desk. Let's see what he's got to say.
Hey guys, I'm here with Valet. I've changed my mind. Congratulations on that win. How proud of your team are you right now?
I don't think I could feel more proud. Like, the way we win, we are only 3 people, and we didn't think we're gonna win. It's an unbelievable feeling.
Now tell me what happened with that Game 5. What was going through your head?
As soon as they locked in the Mage Windwalker Druid, like, we knew we were gonna win this. Like, we practiced against this comp, and I thought if they just stick with the Windwalker DK, it's gonna be a hard game. But as soon as I picked it, we were like, okay, we got this game. We were so sure.
Now you guys are on to face ABC. Do you guys feel prepared for that one?
As prepared as we can be with 3 people, but I think if we can beat them, we can beat everyone.
Well, good luck and congratulations once again. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Just every time I see Vilai, I just think back to like when I was competing with this guy. Like online, he's one thing, you know, but when he comes to these live events, Vilai is just a complete another beast. I remember like we didn't play with him at all. People were starting to question our confidence in him. We slap him at the BlizzCon semifinals, and he just serves up a hot 3-0 for Jamili's team. So I don't know. Vilai, there's something about this guy. He just comes back every single year. We don't really talk about him too much. You know, he doesn't stream too much, just from time to time. But he never disappoints. Never, ever, ever disappoints. When the moment rises, he rises to the occasion. So huge stuff coming in from Vilai there. And of course, the entirety of Change My Mind. We will see them later in the tournament. And now we have our top 4 teams, you know, perhaps not the 4 teams we were expecting, but we can have a little look over at how the bracket is. Upper final, I think it's fair to say these 2 teams very much deserving of their spots. Number 1 team from North America, Cloud9, and the number 1 seed from Europe, Method Black. But lower semis, you've got ABC, the European number 4 squad, who have taken the boys out. They've taken the defending BlizzCon champions Method Orange out, and now Change My Mind off the back of that victory said we'll match them for, you know, which underdog is better.
I mean, we're having like a reformed 2.0 repeat here from Change My Mind in the lower bracket. I'm really interested to see how Mimpoike fares against his former teammates from last year. Point. So there's that little bit of a emotional.
If Rich was here, he'd say like revenge.
This is going to be the revenge match in the lower bracket. But of course, we got to set our eyes on Cloud9 in the upper bracket against Method Black for what Raikou was boasting could be a Mage Warlock Druid mirror.
Yeah, I mean, this has been an absolutely incredible day, and it's only just getting started here. Obviously, ABC against Mimpoike. Mimpoike hates ABC because they kicked him off last year. I think I heard him saying the words loathe, hate, revenge, like all of that stuff. I'm just kidding.
Joking.
Joking. We'll have to see like what comes out of that one. Honestly, these guys, I think they're much better friends than that. But I mean, it's going to be a fantastic grudge match for those guys. But first, we've got the teams setting up on the stage. This is the real series here, because I mean, ABC and Change My Mind, you know, we don't really expect either of those guys to win the tournament. I mean, one of them's going to be top 3 for sure at this point, but these 2 are absolutely the favorites. And let's turn our attention a little bit to this series, Zico. One of the big themes has been, what is the answer to the Mage Lock Druid coming out of Cloud9?
I mean, if you ask me right now, I'm going to say Shadow Priest Rogue Druid. But honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Everybody seems to be wondering right now what beats the Mage Lock Druid of Cloud9. You know, we've been talking to some of the players backstage. I was speaking with Wildcard Gaming this morning, and we were talking about their series that went to Game 5 yesterday against Cloud9. And they said, when I was talking to Morrow, that maybe they should have locked in the Mage Elemental in that last game where they played Moonkin Ellie instead, because as far as Europe was concerned, Moonkin Ellie Healer was the counter for Mage Lock Druid, but you know, ABC lost playing it, and obviously Wildcard Gaming as well lost playing that composition. So maybe the Mage Elemental Druid can go the distance against it. You have a lot of bursty options there with the Ellie Shaman. Otherwise, I think Lock Druid Ellie is the best answer, but I don't think anybody can run it.
Well, here's the thing we did see when they played against Wildcard Gaming yesterday is every single series, it was Mage Lock Druid versus Windwalker Elemental Shaman. I believe it was a Restoration Druid. Wildcard Gaming did win those matchups. The problem is that Cloud9, they have Snuts on the side, and we know he is a phenomenal rogue, which gives them the option to play Rogue Mage Druid, which would be a very solid answer into that Windwalker Elemental Shaman. So we might see a bit of a different blind pick here for Cloud9 in this particular series. They might have to switch it up.